So let me just start off by, I'm sorry that my voice is a little croaky because I just woke up like an hour ago and I haven't really talked at all. I'm going to start off with moisturizing my face. I have absolutely nothing on my face. I just washed it. This is going to be a talk through tutorial, and this is literally why I don't make videos anymore, or I just don't have time. I'll make a talk through, I'll go in to edit it, and it's just too long, and then no one watches it anyway. I'm using the Roche-Posay face moisturizer, the one with prebiotic thermal water and niacinamide. It's a great overall moisturizer. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I always start off my mornings with this moisturizer, even if I'm gonna go in with SPF/sunscreen. So it depends what I'm using. If I am using my IT Cosmetics CC cream, it has SPF 50+, so I don't go in with sunscreen layer before this. So I'm not gonna use a primer because I don't need one. If it's hot, if it's like, I don't know, 85 to 90 degrees, then I will need a primer. If you get oily, I would say you can use like a mattifying oil absorbing primer like in the T-zone area and like on your cheeks. Let's see the weather today. It hasn't been very hot. Oh, okay, so the highest is 80. It's the hottest right now, and I'm inside. I'm gonna be inside all day. I'm not working today, so I'm not gonna be on the roof. Even if I was on the roof, I don't think I would have used a primer right now, which probably would have been a mistake. I don't get so oily to the point where I'm like a huge grease ball, but I do get a little shiny up in here, so I'll literally just like toilet paper or tissue paper, like just tissue, like literally any type of paper towel. I'll just dab it on my oily spots to absorb the oil, and then I'm all good. Okay, with this, I will put a picture here of the brush that I use now because I actually do really like it. It's a fat brush and it gets around your face like really easily because it's so big. I just like to use any type of synthetic brush to kind of blend out my foundation first. This is the $1 billion beauty brand. This is the contour brush. It's just a synthetic brush, good for blending out foundation. So I always blend it down the neck, whatever shade you're using, to make sure everything blends seamlessly. So already you can see it adds coverage, it evens out my skin tone. I didn't even mention when I added more dots, like these dots up here. This is the M.A.C Studio Fix Fluid Foundation in NC30. I mixed the two shades to get my perfect shade. Yeah, and I literally just blend this all over my face to, one, get the SPF everywhere, and then also to just, you know, get coverage everywhere. I go over my eyelids so that everything blends. If I'm gonna put shadow, or if I'm not gonna put shadow, at least all the colors the same. Let me wash my beauty blender and I'll be right back. Okay, so I do have my stuff, but it's not clean. I used this for a freelance job, so I'm not gonna use it on myself. I'm just gonna wash this tonight. This is the brush that I like to use for the step that I just did, just blending out my foundation. This is the Real Techniques Angled Kabuki. Number 235. It's very fast to just blend out my foundation, so that's why I like to use this. Sorry if I'm talking very fast. I'm trying to just get through this because I don't wanna talk too much. If needed, if you have any streaks, you can go in with your damp beauty blender. Okay, so I'm realizing that not everyone knows how to do this. So I just washed my beauty blender. I washed it with the Beauty Blender cleanser bar that it comes with, but you can use dish soap. I literally just have the Beauty Blender cleaner because I thought this little case that came with it was cute and it all came together. Anyway, but when I don't use that, I use Dr. Bronner's, and I usually use the bottle, but I thought this bar was really nice for when I want to clean my brushes and my Beauty Blender. Anyway, that's what I use. So you want to completely clean it, you know, and it's completely wet, and so once it's clean, you squeeze all of the water out, get a, you know, dry paper towel, squeeze it, just make sure all that water's out, and then you'll have a plump beauty sponge. So that's how you want your beauty blender. Or your Real Techniques beauty sponge. Any beauty sponge you're using, that's how you want to use it. I would only suggest these two beauty sponges. I'm not using this one just because it's dirty. And I'm using the Beauty Blender just because I have it. If I'm not using the Beauty Blender and if I don't have this, I will be using the Real Techniques sponge. And I think they're both great quality. I think this is the best dupe that you're gonna get out on the market. And I've tried other beauty sponges. They're just not as good. They're hard, they're dense, they're not, you know, plump and fluffy like this. I do really like the pink one of this, like the body beauty sponge. It's like literally the same thing. It's just like 2 times bigger. Even though it's not marketed for the face, it's literally just a sponge. So I do like using it for the face because it has such a large surface area. Anyway, if you have any streaks, just bounce them out using the Beauty Blender. And I like to keep my foundation layer pretty thin. So as much as it looks like I applied a lot, if you thought that at the beginning when I was applying, you know, onto my face, it's not a lot. It gives an even amount of coverage. I don't have to add any more. I'm literally just gonna add concealer like in the center of my face to brighten. Like, I might conceal this. I'm not even gonna worry about it yet. If I need to cover it afterwards, then I will. We're just gonna go in with our brightening concealer. My favorite 2 concealers that I like to use, the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. I do like the original Shape Tape as well. I just think for if you have dry skin or normal skin even, normal to dry, I think that you would want to go with the Ultra Creamy. That's just my opinion. I think the original Shape Tape is a little bit too drying underneath powder as well if you have normal to dry. If you have oily combination skin, and sometimes even when you're normal, you can get away with it. I would say normal to combo to oily would want to use the original Shape Tape, this guy. So this is the Ultra Creamy. This is the original Shape Tape. My second favorite concealer, the L'Oreal Infallible. It's a little bit more affordable. This is the shade Cashmere. I also have the shade Cashew. And my darker shade is my lighter shade. I use both. I'm actually, you know, fuck it. I'll just do one on each side just to show you. I like my under eye concealer to be very full coverage. If I want it to be, you know, lighter coverage, I'll apply less. These are both just very good overall well-rounded concealers that you can just use for whatever reason. You can use it for contouring, highlighting, you can use it to conceal actual blemishes. Okay, first of all, that's way too light. This was like my way lighter shade before I even started work. If you guys watched my last video, I interviewed for a rooftop bar. I actually don't know if I said that because I didn't know I was. I was interviewing for the hotel, which happened to have, you know, a rooftop bar and a restaurant. I was interviewing for a cocktail server position. I'm just adding a different shade so it's not as light. This is light medium sand. The first one was light sand. Anyway, so I got the job. I ended up working on the roof and I got like so tan every day because I'm literally in the sun. I do wear sunscreen, it gets so bad. Okay, so I'm gonna blend this out so you can see what it looks like. And you want to just blend inwards this way and outwards. And always just make sure you dab. Don't sweep, swipe, just dabbing motions. And this is so that you are dabbing it into the skin and it's kind of like linking into the foundation and you're just pushing it into the foundation so that it like lays nicely together. And I bring it outwards where my eye, you know, just extends. Kind of how in like an old school winged liner tutorial, they'll tell you to extend the bottom of your eye, the wing. That's what I do with my concealer. And then I also just go in. First of all, let me just actually say this. This is a technique. So I'll blend my concealer, you know, along the inside of my nose. I really make sure to get in there because that area for like everyone separates really easily. And whatever is excess, you know, I'll blend along this way. I want to just say something. The triangle method of concealer has been completely construed over the years. When they meant triangle, they meant from there down here to the side of your nose up to here. This type of triangle. Not this. Not this, this, and this. No ma'am. They meant a right triangle. That's how you're gonna get the brightening effect. Don't do it like this. That is gonna drag your face down. Again, this was Tarte Shape Tape, this is L'Oreal Infallible, and I'm just using both so you can see that they're very similar. And I go all the way up to my under eye. And then when I go on my lid, I'll go in the inner corner first, the first half. You know, I'll make the point like down here, this way. And that highlights literally that area. Do you see that? How it just highlighted that? And then I'll take the excess and I'll just like kind of conceal the rest of my eye. But doing that, like, highlights this inner part. And again, this is my everyday routine, so I know my face and I know the way that I like it contoured. You can try this, and if you don't like it, you know, figure out the way that you like to highlight your face. If I feel like I need more concealer, I'll go in with more concealer. And then I'll conceal it, sure. I'm gonna use Cashew. I always use the Coty Airspun powder. Tried and true. It's the best bang for your buck because it's 2 ounces of powder, which how much do you normally get? Not that much. I got the big version of the Kat Von D, and this is 0.67 ounces. Okay, this was like, I don't know, 30 something dollars. And this is 2.3 ounces of product. Are you joking? It lasts so long. So as you can see, they're very similar in coverage and finish. This is a little bit dewier because I used a little bit of ultra creamy. It's gonna be not as shiny because it's just the Infallible, which is like a demi matte finish. Anyway, so Coty Airspun. There's some in the lid. I'm gonna dip my beauty blender and see how much that is. That's a lot of powder. So I'm not gonna use that much. I'm gonna dab that on my hand. See how much came off? That's like, oh, there's a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna make sure before I set it that I already blended out my little creasing. I'm gonna go in the very inner and I'm gonna look up and set my under eyes where it creases, right there. I'm gonna bring it down my nose, really get in that corner and really dabbing that powder in. So that's my first layer, okay? Very smooth, not cakey. I don't bake. Now, I know a lot of people, it's like a huge controversy. It's like either you bake or you don't. I don't bake. Sometimes I do. I don't like the finish. Okay, so again, I just dabbed my beauty blender very lightly in the powder. You can see how much came off. Like, okay, well maybe you can't see that on the camera. I'm gonna do it again. Same area that I concealed. So I totally missed a step. Usually before I put powder on, I will cream bronze. So I'm just gonna do that really quick. I just added this step recently, but I think it makes a huge difference. I'm gonna use the Anastasia cream bronzer in Amber. So I get a little bit and I'll make like 2 dots right here. And then I'll blend downwards towards my temple. When I start blending, I just do a straight line on the very outer perimeter. When I get done putting the main pigment on the outer perimeter, that's when I'll start to blend downwards into like this area. You know that TikTok trend where they're like contouring higher? That's kind of where I go. I haven't tried the actual like filter. I don't really mind not doing that. Anyway, so I keep it above. See that my contour areas right here? You can see that shadow. I go above that. So I'm going right here. Then I'll go with the butt of my beauty blender that doesn't have any product and I'll blend that out. I'll kind of go in this area. I'll put the brush right here and I'll put the brush right here in this area. So, and then there. Now I already put powder on this side, but it's not like, it wasn't that much. So I'm just gonna attempt to do on this side too. I'm gonna use my beauty blender a lot because I don't want to disrupt the powder. And then I go down the nose a little bit on the sides. Now I like this brush because it's very rounded and like on all areas, and you can really like, this is pointed, so this isn't the brush I usually use. I go all the way up here, like around my ear, my jawline, so that everything blends and I get to contour everything. This is just whatever's on the brush. This is where I would make sure my under eye isn't creasing, and then I'll go in. And if I do go in with a lot of powder and I don't pat it on my hand first, I'll show you what I do. See how it's a lot? And normally that's how you bake, but I go in and I just blend it out. And this is when I do it fast. I just blend it all out and I'm completely just dabbing it out so that it's set into the concealer and the foundation without actually baking. And that's how I get a smooth under eye and a smooth finish each time. And I know that this kind of highlights, so I'll like put the main product where I want the main highlight to be, and then sometimes, you know, I'll blend it out with the butt. It depends how I feel. That determines when I bounce the sponge on my hand. If I have like way too much, then I'll bounce it. If I have just like a little bit too much, then I'll, you know, I'll go in, but it depends on the area, you know? I don't know. Blend this out, my crease on my eye, and then I set that there too. And again, I set mainly in the center, And then whatever is left in excess, I will set the rest of my forehead. Because this is where we contoured, this is where we want to keep the highlight. A little bit of excess powder, just enough to like get the highlight going. So even that, it's like I can already feel it. So I'm gonna grab a powder brush and lightly like dust it away. Now for the contour area, this is my smile line area, so I go in there first. And I'll start like on my apple of my cheek, and then I'll just go up my contour. And this is just to set the contour. That's it. That's as much powder as I want. I'm already gonna put contour and bronzer on. I don't wanna set it with too much powder. Now I'm gonna go down my nose, whatever is left. I just go around. And then I always, cause my neck kind of like folds, set my neck in this center area. Now I'm gonna move on to bronzer. I use whatever I have, basically. And what I have right now is these two products. So I've got Benefit Hoola Bronzer in Caramel, and then the Too Faced Gold Soleil Bronzer. It looks like this. It's a shimmery bronzer. I dabbed it 4 times in each. And then I just go in. So I go in like this so that I get a pretty wide coverage. I kind of go with the shape of my face with what side of the brush I use. Same area. I put lighter pressure when I'm blending it out. And then if I want extra warmth and depth, I'll just take the Hoola Caramel and I just add accordingly. And then I'll like kind of squeeze it a little bit to get the sides of my nose. And I take a lot of the color off when I go down on my jaw because I don't want it to be too like shimmery or anything. I just want to kind of set the bronzer and add some more depth. So I have a Holy Grail blush brush. I'm not going to use it because it's dirty. This is the e.l.f. blush brush. Okay, recently I've been mixing Pink Swoon blush from M.A.C and GALifornia blush from Benefit. I get equal parts of both. This is Pink Swoon. And then I go straight into GALifornia. I go on the tops of my cheekbones. And I'm just using the top, the tippity tapered top of this brush. I like to keep my blush in a specific area. And while I do bring my blush like inwards under my eye, I just don't want to like, you know, have the brush put it in random areas. There have been like way too many times where I accidentally like my palettes will be out and I'll just have like a black eyeshadow out and it just like accidentally gets on the tip of the brush and I like just go and there's black on my face and I'm like, oh my god. So I keep it like on the top. Not really on my apple, on the top, like on the tops of my apples. A little bit on my nose. And I do bring it up to my temples. Okay, now is when I'll grab the NC20 and I'll clean this up a tiny bit. Just a little bit. I'll just blend it away. And then, last but not least, and I haven't been adding highlighter recently because the GALifornia blush is pretty, it has like a shimmer in it. So I like that finish. So I'm not going to do highlighter, but if you want to add highlighter, that's when you'll do it. You'll do it at this step right now, and then you'll do this step. This is the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. I recently just started using this because I got gifted it, and I actually really like it. So it's a very simple step, but it kind of just brings everything together. So I put barely any in the cap. I do like the Bare Minerals method where they tell you to like swirl in the cap, tap, and then I just have like a really thin layer of mineral veil, and I kind of just go on one cheek, the other cheek so it's even, and then I just blend it all out. And I go on my forehead, everywhere. And that is my last step. I think it just brings everything together. It blends everything really well. I'm going to spray my face with my Morphe setting spray. My friend asked me what my favorite setting spray was, and I will say I think it's the Urban Decay All Nighter, but I do really like this mist. If I want to look extra dewy, I'll use the MAC Fix Plus. I'm not going to do it right now because it's like at the very end of the Fix Plus, and so it's not spritzing very well. And that's my face routine. I'm going to finish my eyebrows, my eyes, and my lips because that's not part of this routine, okay? I'll come back. Okay, so I do feel a little bit too matte. When I feel a little too matte, I will add highlighter. I have two favorite highlighters at the moment. M.A.C Whisper of Guilt. Mine's all cracked and stuff, so this is not in my kit. This is just mine. OFRA Rodeo Drive. Beautiful. Amazing. Okay, let me just show you swatches. Whisper of Guilt, Rodeo Drive. 2 goes of Rodeo Drive, 1 swipe of M.A.C Whisper of Guilt. So I do like M.A.C Whisper of Guilt better. I'm careful with the word Holy Grail, but I will say M.A.C Whisper of Guilt, Holy Grail. So I do a tiny bit on my nose, and then I'm gonna get a fan brush lightly. I looked too matte in the mirror in my bathroom. I don't look very matte on camera, but just a little bit. Go on like the rounds of my cheekbone, and then wherever it descends, I'll lightly feather it out on my temple on the highest point, which is like right here. If you want to know my lip combo, I'll tell you. I did NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade London. It was a little bit lighter than I wanted, but that's fine. L'Oreal Toasted Almond on top. And then I did ColourPop Luxe Lip Oil in Playa Vista, and the name came off pretty quickly. I haven't had this very long, but... Okay, for the mascara, I used Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Waterproof and Maybelline Lash Stiletto, also waterproof. They're both in black. I don't know, whatever the blackest black of these two mascaras are in waterproof. Okay, so this is my... If I don't mind this. If you want to look a little more matte, you can totally, you know... I look so much more matte when this light isn't on, so I'm just gonna almost stay like this. But yeah, I like it to look like skin, you know, but full coverage. So this is it. If I have mascara on my lid, don't mind that, okay? Okay. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know. Sorry if I'm like screaming. But let me know if you have any questions or comments down below. Please no, nothing too harsh of a comment. Please, I'm sensitive. Yeah, this is the tutorial. I hope I was somewhat clear in all of the steps. I hope you learned something new in this tutorial. I hope that in any video of mine that you end up watching, I hope you learn something new each time. So that's my goal, just to teach you guys what I know. Again, if you have any questions, I'm here for you. I will just get back to you whenever I have the time. Yeah, that's all I have to say, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.